Hi guys, welcome back. It's me, Gimpy. Now I'm here with something a little different for you today. It's not my usual war game fare, but it is in the war theme because you guys know from looking at it, war never changes. That's right, this is the Fallout board game, which I have definitely become enamored with since I finally got it. I was definitely pacing the door, waiting for it to arrive. That and Sherman Leader will not show up for some reason, and I have been dying to get it in front of the camera and to show you guys everything and start playing it, and it will not show up to save my life. I've been waiting a couple of days for it, and I keep getting nothing but delay messages from UPS. They're really starting to let me down here. So I thought I'd do a quick video here on Fallout, play through some rounds for you guys, let you see how it plays, give you my thoughts on it. Fallout, I gotta say, as a series, I've loved it since I was a kid. I actually got kicked out of a friend's house when my brother and I were over and we were playing Fallout 2 back when we were like 11 years old, 12, something like that, maybe younger. And we were playing it, and the friend's parents were very ultra conservative, Christian, wholesome values, and all his dad could hear was us screaming at the computer to blow his head off and loot the body, and oh my god, gore everywhere. And his dad's like, maybe it's time for you boys to go home. So we didn't get to finish that game out. But anyway, Fallout board game here. It's by Fantasy Flight Games. Just a quick FYI, I'm not going to have as many of my usual cool graphics with it, just because I don't have access to the graphical files for the game. So I can't put it up on screen for you guys like I have been. I'll try to hold things up so you guys can see it, though, while I am playing, so you guys can get a view of it and get a feel for it. Component quality, if you've gotten anything from Fantasy Flight before, you'll know their component quality is outstanding. You can see, I'm trying not to look at it, but you can see all their counters and all their cardboard is nice and thick. As always, it feels good in your hand. Good components to play with. Honestly, the only thing that I can really fault this game for after playing it a little bit is I wish that they had a few more enemy counters. There's a bunch of different types in the game. These are some of the counters. These are like human raider counters, and then you have, let me just grab one of each to show you guys real quick. I'll keep them face down so I don't spoil anything that we might run into. You already saw the little skull icon. That's for like humans and raiders, and then you have your ferocious monsters like the Deathclaw. You got bugs, robots, and super mutants are the green ones. And there's enough, but I could have appreciated a little more variety for all of them. There's plenty of the bugs, plenty of the raider types, the human types, but there's only like 4 of the Deathclaw ones, I think 4 of the robots, and like 4 of the super mutants. Probably will have more of those when the expansions start to come out, because this thing is ripe for expansions, absolutely ripe for expansions. But I would have liked to seen some more of those in the box straight off the bat. But that's the one downside. Let me point out a few other components before we start getting to play here. One of the neatest aspects is your player board here. Your health and rads are along the bottom. As you take health damage, you'll move the red peg to the left. As you take rad damage, you'll move that to the right. If they meet, you die. That's it. It's hard to get rid of rads, so as you take rads, your health pool basically becomes less. And they came up with a system that simulates kind of like how the game would play, that if you start gaining more levels, it takes longer and longer to level up in between each level. So my Brotherhood guy, I'm playing a couple of the minis. This guy, this is his player board. He starts off with the intelligence special perk thing. All right, so you can see his little icons there. You take and slide it right in there. He's got intelligence, bam. Now, as you level up, you're going to move this, or as you gain XP, you're going to move this gray peg to the right. And you don't move it into each space. You only move it into the spaces that you have a special icon. So if I gain 1 XP, I would move it to this spot, and if I gain another XP, it goes back to the beginning, and I gain a level, and I'll put another one of the little items in there, and then you'll have to take and stop at the next one. So the more of these that you have, the effectively higher level you are, the longer it takes to level up. ingenious way to do that in a board game. Simulates it very well. So we have our Vault Dweller is one of the ones I'm playing as. This is his cool little mini. And the Brotherhood of Steel Outcast guy, that's his mini. Forgive me for not painting. I actually do paint pretty well, but I am just packed down busy right now, and I don't have time to paint them up. So I might do that at a later point, but we'll see. Alright, so we've got each of them. The Brotherhood Outcast starts with the T45 Power Armor. That number 2 to the left there is his armor icon that reduces the amount of damage that he'll take. It knocks off pips off the dice, which you guys will see when we do combat. The Vault Dweller starts with, obviously, the Vault suit, and it has a built-in reroll, which all of these special icons grant rerolls. You'll see that as my guys start to level up, but that's a good thing. You can see it only has 1 armor, but you can equip 1 additional apparel item on top of that, and you get to add their armor values together just like you could in the game, which is very neat. There are 3 other minis that you can play as. There's a female raider, a ghoul, and a super mutant that you can play as. These 2 are my favorites. I'm going with those, and let you guys see how they're play. I'm not going to get into every single component, but just a quick little overview. There at the top and the back are the cards for the game themselves. There's asset cards, loot cards, special loot cards, and then our quest cards, which that's the neatest aspect of the game. There's this huge stack. Let me grab it so you guys can see it here. Huge stack of quest cards, and this isn't all of them. There's some specialized ones sitting there that will get added to the game as well. And as you do certain quests, like we start off with Welcome to the Commonwealth, and you can see there where it says stage 15 and 134 or stage 16 and 67, depending on what you do, what choice you make there will determine which one of those, which cards come out next. And when it says trash, it just means this comes off the board, and we'll have different quest cards staged out. So depending on the choices that you make in the game affects what quests that you're going to have in the game. It's very neat how they did that. Some quests that you can't have access to until certain things are unlocked, like the vaults. They have a couple of vaults there. But yeah, neat way that they do that. The goal in this game is basically to get points. It's what they call influence. Each person will start with 1 agenda card, and that thumbs up symbol means I have 1 influence. And you can gain more by gaining more of these cards and gaining the whatever task it has set on the card. For example, if the armor of your equipped apparel is exactly 2, hey, you get an extra influence. That's what those thumbs ups are called. And since this is on my Brotherhood guy, this is the one he drew, he's actually already got 2 influence. Bam, he's starting off real good. And then if it gets up to 3 or higher, he'd have 2. Each character will have their own. I am playing it solo. You can play with just a single mini if you want. I'm playing with 2 minis, and I'm just controlling both of them. One aspect of this game, though, is when it comes to the quest cards themselves, some of them will have choices that you're supposed to read, and then you're going to pick what action you want to do. And it says not to read what the results are. I'm sorry, I'm not that good to be able to just ignore words on the card. You know, I guess some people can do it, I can't. So I just look at it. I don't try to cover it up or any of that crap. I just look and say, okay, well, this is what I'm going to try. Because more often than not, it's a choice between doing this and taking a test, or doing this and fighting someone, and you might possibly get some rewards. And it's not going to take and affect us wholeheartedly if we know what the outcome is going to be of it. And the only other thing is over here is our little stack of tokens that we can get. The Nuka Cap tokens, we start off with 3 of them. Outstanding on the quality on those things. I mean, they actually feel like bottle caps in your hand almost. You can see that's 1. I mean, look at that. If you didn't know that I was holding a cardboard chit, you would think that that's an actual bottle cap. I mean, outstanding job. Red are 1, blues are 5. We have our market of items here that we can potentially buy. I already got that seated onto the board. And then these green icons are the level up chits that as we level up, I'll draw from that pile 2, pick 1 to keep, and continue on with the game. So now that I've got the basic gist outlined to you, I set up the first quest, which is the Commonwealth, which is basically Fallout 4. And it's the Railroad and the Institute trying to gain control, and they're going to take and move down this pathway with their little markers here for their faction. And if you end up having to fight one of their guys, it has their icons here on the board or on the player map, and then it shows you how to set up the map, where the pieces go. And the green and the red will be randomized, but these will be in the same spot. The game comes with 4 of these, so you have 4 different quests to play as. This is supposed to be the easiest one. We'll just have to see how it goes. Well, it's already pretty easy. I've already played through it once, but I'm just letting you guys watch me do a second time. Only other aspect of the game I need to show you guys is the dice. These are your VATS dice, and you can see the little person symbols on there. As you roll these, you're looking for, well, honestly, it just depends on what you're doing. Sometimes you want to see a bunch of those little pips that are on the symbols, not the guys themselves. And then sometimes you want to see leg symbols or body symbols. It depends. If you're fighting an enemy, let me grab one to show you guys. This robot, for example, you need to hit it in the arms, and since its level is 2, you need to hit it twice. So you would have to have 2 separate dice. In this case, it would defeat it because it has 2 arm symbols showing. But those pips, those little starburst symbols on them, is how much it damages you back. So you would take 3 damage, but since it's level 2, you would end up taking 6 damage because it's level per pip, if that makes sense to you guys. Your armor helps negate that, but you will also use the dice to do quests. If it tells you to check versus your endurance or your intelligence or whatever it is, and you have to get 3, then you're trying to get 3 of those little pips on the dice to take and do it. If you have that skill in your special bar, you get re-rolls. It's neat how they do it. I gotta say, I love this system. But let me stop talking about it. I've already droned on here for a minute. Let's take and actually get started. Let you guys see. Let me turn the light a little bit because I'm getting a shadow from my dice tower, but it's pretty much the only spot I can put it. This table isn't very big. Got it set up in my little spare room here because I've got so many games going on. All right, let's take and zoom in here so you guys can see where we're starting and see our little dice tray. I'm going to have my Brotherhood guy go first, and he'll just go first each turn. You have a bunch of different actions that you can do. You can do 2 actions per turn, and you can do the same action with the exception of encounter. Encounter you cannot do twice in a turn at the same location. So let's get started here, and I'll start showing you guys what those actions mean. The one downfall of starting with excellent armor, like the Brotherhood guy gets, is that he's slow. He can only move 1 space on one of these tiles instead of 2. So spaces on the tiles are the little white borders. If it's got a red border on it, it means it's difficult terrain and it requires 2 movement points. So with his armor, I can't even move into it since I only have 1. However, I can pay 1 cap to gain an extra movement point. Basically, you're paying to service your armor is what it's simulating. And if you move into green terrain, that is radioactive, and you take a point of rad damage, which I try to avoid at all costs. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to have him do an explore action to start with because that's pretty much all we can do. He is going to explore this tile. We'll flip it over. There is an arrow there at the top that shows us what direction to point up, and you can see that there's a bug symbol, so we will encounter a bug there. And this is like a little city that you can go to. It'll have either that icon for a city type encounter, or if it's got like the jagged looking ruined buildings, that's more like a wasteland encounter. So we'll take and set this down here. I'm like so anal about trying to keep the tiles as neat as I can. we will take one of the bugs, which I just dropped down on the floor, and see what we have. We have a Stingwing. So you can see it's a level 2 bug. It's not aggressive. If it had a little lightning bolt down here in the bottom right, it would be aggressive. And it has to be hit in the chest and the head to do damage to it. So we'll put that right there. And I have one action left. I'll tell you what, since yeah, I'm gonna be moving that way. Some people spread their guys out. I like to try to keep mine together, so if they get items that can help each other, they can trade. So I'm just gonna have him move forward into this spot, and that's gonna complete his turn. And we're gonna activate our Vault Dweller now. He's gonna do 2 actions. He does not have the movement point penalty that the Brotherhood guy does, so I can go 1, 2 and move him to that, what is it called? Ashbury Road, little town area, and he gets to have an encounter there. I'm going to use his other action to have an encounter, which means I will draw an encounter card here. And this is where I'm talking about where you're going to have the choices, but we're just going to take and read it and deal with it. All right, let me go ahead and say this. I meant to say this at the beginning of the video and I missed it. Spoilers. Spoilers. Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers. Gonna happen. I'm not trying to hide them. I'm not trying to hide anything. If you're wanting to get this game and you don't want to have anything spoiled for you, stop watching at this point, because there's going to be plenty of spoilers from here on out. So if that's something you're concerned about, keep it in mind. But from here on out, I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm showing you the game in its entirety, you know, of what I'm playing. So keep that in mind. All right, so what do we have here? Out of nowhere, a gray tabby cat races across your path. Ashes, a voice shouts. Ashes, come back. The cat trots forward a few more feet, then turns around and stares at you. Ignore them both, and you can just take and shop, or try to catch the cat, and that A and L means a test, okay? I'm going to take an attempt to do it because I do have the luck skill, which means I need to get 4 pips on the dice, those little jagged star icons there. I need to get 4 of them by rolling 3 dice, and since the Vault Dweller starts off with the luck skill, it means I get 1 re-roll of as many dice as I want. So if I get a good roll off the bat, I can pick up a couple of them and re-roll them to attempt to get all 4. So I'm going to attempt to catch the cat here and see if I can come out okay. So let's take and roll our dice here. I'm looking for 4 pips. Okay. Well, this is okay. I'm gonna take and keep one of them and re-roll 2 because I've got 3 pips. Let's see, is this? It's agility and luck. Yeah. So I've only got 1 re-roll. I need to take and get one of these. Has to come up as the 2 icon to beat this. So let's re-roll it again. Got no chance unless I get at least 1 pip and 2 pips on these things. Let's see what we get. Come on. No, it's a fail. So we failed that one. And since we failed, you lurch towards the cat and it charges at you. It swipes at your hands and face, then darts off into the shadows. Your reward for your attempt at a good deed is a batch of bleeding scratches and a healthy dose of humiliation. Suffer 1 damage. Had we succeeded, we could have chosen 1 item from the shop, which would have been excellent because there's a very good item in the shop that I would like to have. Since this doesn't say trash, we just put it on the bottom of the pile and we continue going. That is unfortunate. I really wanted to take and get that free item. So let me back up a little bit so we're not so zoomed in here so you guys can see a little bit better. Now, what's going on? Now that both of my guys have activated, we're going to take and draw from this agenda deck. The agenda deck, as well as infecting of influence for the players trying to collect these, of which you can have 4 by the way. It'll also control the movement and aggression of the monsters on the board. So we flip it over, and anything that is shown in this bottom right part of the card is what is affected. You don't worry about anything up here during that period of time. All right. So, am I going to go ahead and do that? Yeah, I might go ahead and do that. I'll do it on the next turn so you guys can see it. So the shield icon, which is is associated with, knocking it down, the actual quest characters themselves, is going to move and come at us. It'll move just one space towards us, and also any death claws and bugs will activate. There are no death claws on the board. Let me set these out of the way here. But there are bugs. So the bug's going to activate and it's going to attack our Brotherhood of Steel guy right over here because that's the space that he is in. So we're going to have a combat going on with that. And we'll take and roll off on it. His level is 2. He can be hit in the head or the chest. And the chest is what's going to come up more often on these dice. So hopefully as long as no more than 2 pips are shown on this, we'll be okay. So let's take and roll off and see what we get. And it doesn't look like I actually get any re-rolls. Yeah, I've got no weapons, nothing that can give me re-rolls at this point. So it's just a straight roll on the dice. All right, that's not good. It came up with the double icon twice, which is what I needed previously. But we were able to kill him. Unfortunately, he did 4 damage to us, 4 pips worth, and that's going to be multiplied by his level. So if we did not have armor, we would take 8 damage. However, since we do have armor, we can remove 2 of these pips before it doubles. So we only take 4 damage from him after the combat. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you see, I've just moved the peg down on my little board, and that's where my health got reduced. And you can see the tremendous value of armor and why he has such a bad start with, or a handicap with the movement, because he has such strong armor to start with. So once an enemy is killed like that, you will take and replace it, the spot that it came from, with a face down enemy that's not activated until the agenda deck shows that icon again. And since he was level 2, we get to level up, because we're going to go on our little board here. The peg was here on the far left. It goes 1 space here, and then it's passed, so it's back over here. So it goes 1 and then 2 back to the beginning, and we get to draw and level up. So we're going to take and randomly grab a couple of these little tokens. And unfortunately, they're both perception, so I don't get a choice. I was hoping for strength, but we'll take perception. And, I dropped it out. And we'll take and throw it in there. And we have the startings of our special. So that means that when we level up next time, or when we start to gain XP, we're going to have to go 1, 2, and then 3 to level up. And there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, on down the line. Unfortunately, you do not regain your health when you level up in this game. I checked on that one a couple times, but I thought that you would, but you do not. It says, doesn't say anything about regaining health in the rule book. So we are set to begin our next turn. Alright, so let's take and continue our turn on here real quick. We are back to our Brotherhood of Steel guy, and I'm kind of eyeballing it on what I want to do. I would like to take and get some more encounters going. He's just so slow. He's just, plodding along at 1 space. So his actions are just so limited. I got to try to kind of keep him with it. Let's see. I want to kind of explore around and see if I can level up and gain some items, because weapons tend to be a touch rare in this game. You can, as you guys can see, you can conduct combat without having a weapon physically attached to your guy. You can see, I forgot to show you earlier, you put your apparel there, your weapons there, companions there, and then your inventory. You can have up to 3 cards sitting there. And I have my, I'll pan down so you can see, my little apparel card sitting there, and as soon as I'll have a weapon or a companion, they'll go in their slots, and then extra items I'm carrying like drugs or junk or crap like that will go there. So, let's see. I only have 3 caps. There's nothing in the merchants that I can buy for 3 caps. So I really need to try to explore around. I'll tell you what, I might take and use one of his actions to explore here just to go ahead and flip that tile up and then move him into this space to take and do a encounter there on the next turn. So we'll take and do that. We'll take and flip this. And okay, so you guys can see this now. See how the left side of this tile has that green border to it? It means it's irradiated. So you can tell by that, radioactive symbol down there in the bottom left. If you move your character through that spot, you'll automatically take 1 rad damage. So that's a bad thing. You want to avoid that if at all possible. So I always tend to try to walk around those. And we have another bug symbol, so we'll take and put a bug there. Ooh, this is bad. This is a rad roach. If you take damage from a rad roach, you take radiation hits as well. You can tell by that little rad symbol in the bottom right. But they're relatively easy to kill at level 1, and they have multiple spots that can hit them. So we'll take and do that. You can think of, let's see if I can find it. Yeah. The headshot on your little vat die here is basically, what's it at? Rolling a 6 when you're fighting someone, because that's only on one side of the dice. So your harder enemies are going to require things like headshots and probably more than 1 headshot. That's why you're going to need to encounter them later in the game when you have better armor, can withstand their massive amount of damage they're going to do to you, and be able to have the rerolls necessary to give yourself a chance to get 2 or 3 hits onto them. Alright, so the rad roach is there. Maybe I should take and move my stuff around. Maybe I should take and move the Brotherhood guy, because I don't want to move him into this radiation, so I could go here and then go up here to have an encounter there. Since it is another turn, I could try to have another encounter here, but I might take in, since this little spot borders on both of these, I can use both of his actions to flip both of these to see what I'm getting ready to run into. But the problem is that does put more enemies on the board, which means it's more likely that they're going to start coming after us. But you need enemies coming after you so you can kill them to level up. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, we got to kill rad roaches. We got to do that. So I'm going to take and finish his move by moving him here. And do we want to do another encounter? Okay, let's flip this one with my, onto my Vault Dweller now. I'm going to take and have him encounter or explore this tile, excuse me. And let's see what we got. What do you know? Garbage. That red terrain means it's hard, it's difficult terrain, so it takes 2 movement points, which is effectively blocked to my power armor guy unless I want to spend money, and another damn bug. Just run into bugs everywhere. If bugs activate, I'm going to get swarmed. So we will take and throw another bug down. And it is, what is this? Ooh, a rad scorpion. Also level 1. Now, that little return looking arrow there on the top, on the bottom of it, that means that it'll retreat. If you attack it or it attacks you and it doesn't die, it runs away. And the smaller little lightning bolt there in the bottom right means it's aggressive, so you don't have to spend an action to attack it. If you move into its space, it'll automatically attack you. Alright, so I've got 1 action left. What do I want to do for that action? Do I want to move? Do I want to encounter? I'll tell you what, let's take and do 1 more encounter. I'll let you guys see how that works. Alright, we will take and draw another encounter card here. Alright, and you can tell by the star there in the top left that it's a starting encounter card. There's a handful of these that will start the game, ready to go, and then you start adding in the others. It'll tell you on these to add certain cards. So, if you, let's read it. You pass several people in the settlement when you hear an angry voice. "You stupid mutt." You look over in time to see a woman kicking her dog. Well, that dirty bitch. Alright, forced. If you are idolized, you have to do this. If you're not, then you can do this. make this asshole stop. Oh, it's got asshole on the card. I like that. Oh, it's a 4 test. I want to beat this little bitch's ass. Alright, yeah, I'm going ahead and reading it. Succeed, you intimidate the woman and the dog runs into the crowd as she shrinks away from you, become idolized. If you were already idolized, it's a trait, a condition you can get in this game. You could get the dog meat unique asset, which is dog meat from the game. Oh, I want dog meat. Or I can let it go and just go shopping. If I do that, then this card gets shuffled back into the deck for a later, so it can be drawn later. Okay. So I'm probably going to have to pick shopping. I'm not actually going to buy anything, but the problem is I don't want to fail this test, which is very likely with it requiring a 4, SC4. I don't have strength, I don't have charisma, which means I would have no rerolls. If I had just strength or charisma, I would get 1 reroll. If I had both, I would get 2 rerolls. So I'm going to take and avoid that and then just go shopping, and we'll take and set this on the bottom here for it to hopefully come up later and not, or give us another chance to get dog meat. And since I'm going shopping, it means we draw 1 asset card. In this case, it is the Ripper. Ooh, look at that. That is a nice weapon. And that is for 6. So it will go over here in our pile. Now, there can only be 4 items here to choose from. So you got to take and remove from the right before you do from the left. And we'll take and remove this stim pack, and we'll take and put the Ripper in its place, because I'm definitely going to try to buy that Ripper and this hazmat suit, because you can see this hazmat suit here. During a test that uses endurance, it adds 1 hit, which effectively gives you 1 freebie, and then anytime you suffer rads, suffer 1 fewer. Effectively, you can walk through irradiated areas without taking damage. So I definitely want to keep that, or get that, but that costs 6 caps. Ooh, I'll tell you what I could do. I should have traded, I should have camped, because if I camp, then I can take and trade and give caps away to each other. Well, I gotta heal my guy up anyway, so let's take and do 1 more turn for this video, and we'll do a camp action and let you guys see that. So we're gonna take and draw another card, since both of my guys have gone, and it is the Star, Robots, and Skulls. So at least our bugs aren't gonna take and activate, but this robot here will move 1 closer, coming at us, and there are no stars on the board, so that's all we've got to do for the enemy. We are back to our turn. I will have my Brotherhood guy do a camp action, at which point I can trade, and I will have him give the 3 caps that he has over to my Vault Dweller, so he'll have 6 caps and can purchase that hazmat suit. I also get to regain 3 health from that and unexhaust any cards. So if I had any asset cards that had been flipped sideways for their abilities, I could reset them at this point, but I don't have any cards like that. So that was my first action. My second action is just going to be move 1 over there so I can get an encounter going there. I'm going to take and do the encounter. We're back here to the Vault Dweller. I'm going to do the encounter again here so I can shop, because I definitely need to shop. Which one of these has, yep. If I'm a synth, okay, what is this? A shouting match is just beginning when you arrive in the town square. He openly admitted to being a synth. A young man shrinks away from a crowd as it grows hostile. Forced, if you're a synth, you have to do that crap. Don't get involved and you can shop. Convince the crowd there's nothing to fear. And, ooh, become vilified, shop, and, ooh, see how it says add a quest? See, if you do different things, if you succeed here, it adds a quest. If you fail, it adds a different quest. Interesting way that it does that. So I'm going to ignore all of it. I'm going to not get involved. I'm just going to shop, which means this is going to be put back down in the pile here, we'll draw another asset card. It's a stim pack, another one. We'll just throw that down. I'm not worried about that. Oh, actually, it's going to stay because I'm going to purchase something. I'm going to take and spend my 6 caps to take and gain this hazmat suit on my Vault Dweller. So now he effectively is the better fighter of the two of my guys because he has 2 armor. He has the hazmat suit giving him 1, his Vault Dweller suit giving him 1, and he reduces the amount of rads he takes. That's outstanding. Perfect combination right there. But he's got no money. So at least he's faster than my slow Brotherhood guy who just meanders along. Now, if I could get some more caps and buy that Ripper for one of my guys and have a weapon, let me show you guys this. You guys can see that it's obviously it's a weapon, and if you roll that icon on the dice, you can spend one of your rerolls to change a die to match that result. So a neat little special ability on the card, and if you have the strength or agility, you gain a reroll for either one of those that you have, or 2 rerolls if you have both. Unfortunately, neither of my guys have strength or agility, but they'll get it at some point. This is an excellent weapon to get. So he is done. He's completed his turn. Let's take and draw our... Actually, no, he hasn't completed his turn because that was the first thing that I did was his encounter. So I will have him explore here to complete his turn, and then we will draw the next card. We've run into a bandit outpost. See the raider camp, and that icon is the different type of encounter. So this is where you'll have encounters in the wasteland where you're more likely to get attacked or find different types of items. And the number next to it is effectively the level of the encounter. So if one of the cards says to judge something based on the level of the encounter, that's what you would look at. It also has an enemy, one of the skulls there, which is a regulator. Ooh, these guys are in this. The little loot bag on the bottom right means he drops an item. The gun icon means that he will fight from range, so he can attack adjacent to you. And he has a level of 2, and you can see his little weak spots there. So we'll put him right here. The regulators are actually good guys, but I guess I'm gonna have to shoot them anyway. Oh, the other thing that I'm going to do is something that you can do here. Since I lucked out on my Vault Dweller and got this, I'm gonna have him go ahead and declare his loyalty to the Star faction, which is the Railroad faction, which means they're going to be friendly to me. This enemy that's on the card will not attack me because I'm loyal to their faction, but it means I'm against the Institute, so their guys will definitely be attacking me, but they would have anyway at that point. So let's take and draw our agenda card, and then we'll cut the video here because I'm probably approaching about an hour or so. Let's take and draw our next agenda. All right, so the shield's going to move, the death claws, and robots. This is bad. So the shield is getting closer. See, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's going to go this way. And the robots 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, closest guy is going to be to me. So this robot's getting even closer. So, oh, and the shield icon there in the top left, if someone had this agenda, one of my characters had it, they could declare their loyalty to the Synth faction, the Institute, if they wanted to. Alright, so now we're done with the enemy activations, and we're back to the start of the next turn. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here since we're getting a little long in it. I hope this gave you a good sense of the game. One of the things that got me when I first got into it was the tiles themselves, because they didn't seem all that big, and Fallout's always had like this very open feel, and I'm like, how is a handful of tiles going to simulate that? But the fact that the tiles are separated out, and this is one of the tiles that is a base tile, like it's always going to start this. The Crossroad Camp is always on the board. It's always where you start. Having the multiple spots that they can go to really does give the game a very open feel, because of just how large it is. You can see that I've been playing a handful of rounds and I've really only explored these first few little tiles. I haven't got anywhere near the bottom of the board or anything to do with the dangerous zone of the board yet. And you can see that this is just the first quest that I haven't even, I haven't killed anyone yet. I haven't even started this quest. Once I kill a skull, I can take and start it, or I can go to Diamond City, which is here in the center, and do a quest action to take and do the second part of the quest to get that started. It just depends on which way you want to go with the quest. But it has a lot of divergent points to it. It breaks off into this, breaks off into that, and you can play through one of these cards, one of the little starter quest cards here, and not see anywhere near all that the game has to offer. I gotta say, I like it. Definitely into it. The only downside to it is I would like to have seen more variety in the enemies that came with the base game box itself. But I honestly think that they did it that way because there's expansions playing for the game. There's so much content ripe for expansions. Like, they could delve into any of the games. They could make a New Vegas pack, a old school pack with Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 quest for the game that I'm sure would sell, because old farts like myself would buy that shit up. So I'm sure that they're going to do that. It's the only bad thing that I can say about it. The rest of it, absolutely love the game. I'm definitely going to be playing through it when I have time. And obviously I have time because UPS doesn't like me and they won't deliver my DVG shit. But alright, we're going to stop here. I'm going to stop the rambling. I apologize again for not being able to have graphics up for you guys so it'd be easier for you to see it. I just don't have access to those files to put them up. But I will keep looking and see if I can set that up for you guys on the following turns. You guys take care. Oh, one last thing before I forget. Pay attention to the videos. It should be the next video up, next playthrough video that goes up will announce the game that's going to be the first game in the Gimpy's Games giveaways that I'm starting up for you guys. I plan on giving away hopefully one game a month. Pay attention to the next video. It'll tell you what, when, where, how, and all the good stuff. So be on the lookout for that. The game is on its way, should be here to me in a few days. You guys take care. I'll see you in the next video.